stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning. Happy July 3rd. Happy Sober Thursday. Tomorrow is 4th of July. Everything will be closed. Well, all government stuff will be closed anyway. Yep. So, good afternoon, Michelle. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good day. Mine's going all right. Not much has happened. So I haven't been awake that long. I haven't been awake long enough for anything to. Well, I went to a 10 o'clock meeting. There was like 5 of us, 6, maybe 7. Nobody's sharing. Nobody's sharing, man. I left about 7 minutes early because nobody was sharing. So, I find it pretty rude to go to a meeting and just sit there with your camera off saying nothing. In fact, I'm going to be kind of bold here. If you're just going to go and not participate, don't bother going. I understand that Zoom, the reason that you're on Zoom is probably for some mental illness. A mental illness where you're easily distracted, and there's several of those. How do I know this? Because I am one. I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday. I have to be careful when I'm in a meeting because I'll start doing other shit. I'll check my email, I'll go to Facebook, and then I'm not listening. Right? And somebody else took their time to host the meeting, to chair the meeting, to do the timer, to do the readings, to get everything set up for you so you could sit there and pick your nose. Let's show a little bit of respect. Right? Doesn't happen in grassroots. We could have 3 people in that meeting and it'll go the full hour. Good job. I'm very proud of everybody in that group. It's going through some growing pains right now. That's all right. The growing pains tend to sift out the bull crap. So it's all right. A lot of growing pains going on right now, right? So, but this is kind of what I'm finding out. Everybody loves me when I do what they want, but I'm not going to do what everybody wants all the time. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I don't need, even though I find myself to be a fine Earl Grey. That's the joke, because I don't mostly. Actually, I do. I'm a pretty cool guy, man. I know I sound rough. I've got this voice that makes it sound like I'm just an asshole all the time. I know that. But if you approach me with a problem, I'm gonna have a lot of fucking respect for you. I am. But if you get passive aggressive with me, I'm probably just gonna let you flounder. I'm most likely not gonna say anything. If you get passive aggressive with me, I'm not gonna say anything. Because it takes 2 to tango, and you can go tango with somebody else. I only tango with one person, that's my wife. That's the only person I will tango with. Mango tango. Yeah, huh, Michelle? Yesterday, a few new people. Yeah. See, it's what AA does. See, you gotta keep feeding it. I had a fear that some other people weren't going to come back because one person got disgruntled, and I was wrong. I was glad to. Yeah, but anyway, doesn't matter. We are going to be on page 87. Now, these are just things groups go through. So, and there's a way that they're ran. And what I did is I set up the format to teach people how an AA meeting is run. Yesterday they aren't new to the program. Well, depends on what you consider new. But they qualified to chair. They were nervous. All right. Always happens that way though. They did a great job. Two main things when you chair. Two main things. Number one, don't be an auctioneer and go through the format so damn fast that people can't raise their hand. That's the first one. Second one, have a topic. Other than that, you ain't got much to worry about. No. So, all right. Let's do some introductions and get started. It's 11:11. At least it is here in Colorado. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. All right. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the top of page 86, and that's going to give us a little leeway. But what we're trying to get to is experience is the best teacher. But that's not really going to cover it. So we'll get to the big book, but I think I'm going to kind of do my own experience as the best teacher. So, all right, experience the best teacher. Just making sure. Sometimes my brain, I'll read it, and then in my brain it just mixes it up. It goes all Yoda on me. All right, Yoda had dyslexia, you could tell. Or as I like to call it, lysdexia. Only people with dyslexia will understand what I'm saying. Lysdexia. I'm kidding. You're going to understand it. All right. So there's two kinds of experiences that we can learn from. Yours and somebody else's. Do we just learn from our own experience? Oh, no. In fact, most of your experience is probably going to come from other people, right? We do it all the time. When you have children, these little babies, the one time I actually smacked one of my kids, and it was out of fear. My daughter was getting ready to put her finger, she was taking her finger, putting it towards a plug. I like smacked her hand just real quick, scared me. But I tell you, she never did it again. She learned an experience, didn't she? Even now, my experience is good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't matter. All right. There's a lot of times I talk to my kids, maybe they're doing something that fucking bullshit. Okay. All right. Sorry. There's an email. It's about my pay. How am I going to trust a government that can't even pay me on time to open up a detox? That's all right. So, but even now, when maybe my kids are doing something that dad did when he was younger, I can always go to them now and say, you remember when dad did that? They're like, yeah, remember how it didn't turn out very well? Yeah. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that. We alcoholics are one of the types of people that actually get to use our past to good use. Now, actually, anybody can do this if they want to, but most people in life, non-alcoholics, they don't find that gift of desperation that leads them to a higher power to help them out a little bit. Maybe they don't need it. I don't know. I'm not a non-alcoholic. I have no idea. I have not experienced that. Okay? So I have to trust the experience of non-alcoholics and how they go through it, right? Learning from the past mistakes, learning from other people's experiences is how we continue to stay alive. It's how we thrive. It's how we move forward. right? And there's a lot of mistakes right now. There are a lot of this generation coming up. They do not want to listen to their elders. There's no respect for the elders. Maybe not all of them. Actually, most people I've met that are younger seem to be, but of course they're in AA, so I have a tie to them, right? But if we do not learn from the mistakes of others, we are doomed to repeat them. If we do not learn from the past, if we do not learn from our experience, we will be doomed to repeat it. Okay. And how do we do that? How do we share our experience? In meetings. In meetings. That's why you got to stop hiding behind your darn camera or doing other stuff. I understand that you got to work. This is the only time that I really think it's okay. I understand. I got other things to do too. Like I can do dishes and listen at the same time. That's not a problem. But I cannot write an email and listen at the same time. There's things that I can't do. I cannot text and drive. Never been able to. Will never be able to. Before any laws were passed, I'm like, nope, I ain't doing that. Because every time I do, I swerve out my damn lane. I just don't have that balance. My brain doesn't work like that, right? So, experience helps us not necessarily just avoid mistakes, but we alcoholics are a set of people who set themselves up to fail. And now we utilize experience to set ourselves up to succeed. See how everything just switches. You don't lose something. It isn't that selfishness is bad. It's that we alcoholics don't utilize it correctly. We have a different kind of selfishness, but it is a selfishness. To me, anyway. You might call it something different, and that's okay too. It's just a word. It's the action that counts. It's the non-action that counts. Both these two things, right? So, sorry. See, my mind wanders. I just the pay, and it isn't the pay. It's the fact that I'm being put off again. This is the fourth time I've been paid through these people, and it's the fourth time they've screwed it up. It's like there's somebody over there out for me. And then I just get these lame excuses. I apologize for the delay. I mentioned we are still trying to figure out our invoicing and processes for community engagement. Unfortunately, that's ongoing. It's been a year, and actually it's been over 2 years now. And I don't have it figured out. To me, that's just a lie. It is a poor excuse, a poor one in my book. And how do I know that? From experience. Because I've been through this before. And I know bullshit when I hear it. Now, I'm not saying this person is blowing smoke up my butt. I don't think this person is. I think whoever told them that is full of shit. Because, see, I used to be in finance. I know exactly how direct deposit, I know how credit cards work, I know how debit cards work. I used to train people on how it used to work. I know how it works. And I know bullshit when I hear it. Ongoing. It's right. What is so hard about adding a vendor on and paying them when they put the hours in? See? It wouldn't be any different from the snow shoveling, the maintenance, see, I know too much about it. I was just listening to Kurt Cobain talk about something, and he hit something right on. I wish I wish I could be one of those people who are just blissfully happy. Not a care in the world, because I don't see what's going on around me, because I can't, because I can't see what's going on around me. But I've got a complicated brain and I see everything. I wish I didn't. I really wish I did not. But what are you gonna do? Well, I've got to work with it somehow. Look what happened to Kurt Cobain. And by the way, I don't quite believe it. I don't believe that it was suicide. But that is opinion only, and we are off topic. All right. So what do? We learn from other people's experiences, and then we share our experiences so that other people don't have to make those mistakes also. Right? It's a pay it forward. And Alcoholics Anonymous is the ultimate pay it forward. All right. So, yes, ignorance is bliss. I would agree with that. And I wish I was ignorant, but I've never been ignorant ever. I'm very, when I'm not drinking, I'm a pretty open-minded person. I don't want to close everything off. So, all right, let's get to the big book. Enough of Dion's opinion and stuff like that. Let's get to this. I'm not sure how much more I could. I mean, I could come up with other examples and stuff, but I think we understand it. All right. Now, for me, I have found the best way to learn is to be a teacher, is to teach. But I cannot transmit something I do not have. I can't. Doesn't matter what it is. If I'm not a recovered alcoholic, I cannot pass on recovery. That doesn't quite sound right, does it? Yeah, I don't think that is right. I don't think that would be correct. Because somebody with 30 days could say something and it would be what I needed to hear. So, yeah, that's not true. Yeah, okay. See, it's okay to be wrong. There you go. I was just talking about having an open mind. So in my brain, it sounded right. That's why we need to say things out loud. Because as soon as it came out of my mouth, I knew it was wrong, but my brain was all blah, 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 blah. Huh. Okay. It's one of the dangers about being live and not editing. You're going to be wrong a lot. I'm an alcoholic. I'm kind of used to it. All right. So let's start at the top of page 86. I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with this. So part of the readings that people tend to do 80. They do different things, right? Some are like 84 to 87. Some are 86 to 88. Yeah. Anyway, up to you. I used to read this, but instead of reading it, I just now do it. Right. I don't need to read it. I wake up and I do this, or when I retire at night. Okay. So when we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves that should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving towards all? What could we have done better? That's usually the question that I ask myself, because I try and take care of things as they come along, so that at night if I can take care of something now, an amends, something like that needs to be taken care of, I do everything that I can to make sure it doesn't go into the next day. I don't need those emotional hangovers. Okay. I already feel crappy when I wake up in the morning because I'm a smoker. I don't need the emotional hangover too. Okay. All right. But in the beginning, it's good to do this every day, to read this every day, so that it reminds you what we're doing. Okay. And then after a while, it'll just become automatic for you. You will take care of it in the moment. I don't need to think back on my day because I'm taking care of things in the moment. But at night, I still do ask myself, is there anything that I could have done better? And there usually is, right? Um, were we thinking of ourselves most of the time, or were we thinking what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. Do you hear the fifth step in there? This is just all fourth and fifth step, but now we're in maintenance, so we're talking about the 10th step. This is how you avoid doing another fourth step. If you let these things continue carrying and you don't do it, then you're going to have to write another fourth step. That is entirely up to you. If you want to live with that stuff until you do your annual fourth step, that is up to you. Seems to work for people. Personally, I like the maintenance and I take care of it right then and there. Okay. Now, at the end of this, it talks about you don't want to overdo it. I do, and I do this actually about an hour or two before I go to bed. I don't do it right before I go to sleep. I'm not going to put new things on my mind before I go to bed, or I'm going to end up thinking about them. And yeah. Main thing here is, what does it say? Well, you're going to give it to God. Give it to God. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. My motives, right? This is where I'm making the choice. Every night, I go to bed a recovered alcoholic, and I wake up a helpless, hopeless drunk every morning. And then I have a choice to make. I can either pray to God and do this part that they're talking about, or I can grab my car keys, hop in the car, and head to the liquor store. In the beginning, I used to have to intentionally go out of my way to go to God. Now I don't even think about picking up my keys in the morning and going to the liquor store. It just the option just doesn't pop into my head anymore. But I'm still making a choice. And that choice has a shit ton of power in it. It'll change my entire intentions for the day. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. We relax and take it easy. We do not struggle. We're often surprised how the right answers will come after we have tried this for a while. What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. A little itchy on the lip. All right. So, what used to be the occasional hunch becomes a working part of the mind. It's your intuition. And I say it all the time, and I'm going to continue saying it all the time. Trust your intuition over your brain. Trust your intuition over your brain. I'm an alcoholic. My brain puts the cart before the horse. It is just looking for the easier, softer way. My brain is the last place that I go for a fucking answer. It wants me dead. I feed it information. It's more a computer. And then it tickers this stuff out, right? Being still and experienced and having just made a conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. You know what? I carry God around in my hip pocket, and I am not inspired all the time. No. Often I am. But how many times have you come on and listen to this and I'm just like, I just don't have much for you today. We all have days where we're not inspired. So what do we do on those days? Go back to basics, man. Just go back to steps 1, 2, and 3. It is okay to be on your foundation steps. It's all right to be there. Some days that may be all you got. Well, do the best that you can with what you got for that day. That's all that's really asked. And try it and do it as enthusiastically as you can. Does that mean you're going to be enthusiastic about it? No, we're asking that you do the best that you can. That's it. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we will find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it. I would agree. I have come to rely upon it. I would also call that faith. Absolutely, I would. We usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that be shown all through the day what our next step is to be. I like the 3rd step prayer. That's the one that I prefer. Sometimes I have to get into the other prayers. Sometimes I have to use the sick man's prayer. Sometimes I have to use the anger prayer. Sometimes I need to use the set aside prayer or the serenity prayer. Doesn't matter what it is, it always needs to end with this: your will, not mine, be done. That's how they all need to end. We ask especially for freedom from self-will and careful to make no requests for ourselves. I make a request for myself. God, keep me sober today, please. If I'm asking a request that is along God's will, do I ask God for money? No. But I do ask him for the courage to get whatever it is that I'm going through at the moment so I can be of help, so I can be of service to his children and not in self-pity. I'll ask for that. All right. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. Yeah. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why. There are a couple things God doesn't do: money and football. Quit saying how God loves your football team. He doesn't do football. Sorry. And he's a Bronco fan, so I don't care what anybody else says anyway. That's why sunsets are orange on a blue sky. Hey, there's God for you. So if anything, he's a Bronco fan, so you just forget it. All right. But if God did football and he was a Bronco fan, well, gosh, we would have won the Super Bowl a lot more, huh? So see, God doesn't do football. Does he do money? Not in the sense that I think that we think he does money, if that makes sense. If he did give you a chunk of money, there's a reason for it. And you should probably ask God, how am I supposed to spend this? What is the best way to do it? I'm actually looking at something like that right now. The place that we're in, they're asking, hey, do you guys want to buy the house? We'll help you out with buying the house. And I'm like, now I'm like, actually, I think I do want to buy the house. It gave me some motivation, actually. Now I want to fucking get to work. Actually, I'm like, oh, let's go make some money. Let's make some money. Now I really want to get my pressure washing business started because it's going to bring in more money. We don't have a ton of bills. And what I want to do is buy this place, and I'm going to turn it into a treatment center. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to turn it into a treatment center. I'm going to help people and create a passive income for my retirement. That's exactly what I'm going to do. This place would be perfect for it. It needs a little bit of work. It needs some updating, but that's okay. I got plenty of friends. Like the whole basement's yellow. Right. So, yeah. If that's what God wants. All right. All right. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in morning meditation. I'm gonna let you know something. I'm very, very selfish about my higher power, and I don't pray with other people. Not unless we're doing the third step prayer together. I will at the meetings, things like that. But it is very personal. It is between me and God. I might do it at dinner if somebody asks me, things like that. But when it comes to my praying, I do it alone because that's how I feel the most comfortable. I'm not embarrassed or anything. It's just that's my preference. If my wife wants to go pray, she can go pray. I'm sorry, but I find that most people do not want to pray. Maybe they did back then, but now it just seems to turn people off. So, if we belong to a religious denomination which requires definite morning devotion, we attend to that also. Now, I'm not saying if you want to sit down with the whole family and do it and stuff, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. But there is one thing. I will not force God on other people. I am not going to force it on them. So, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they have to offer. So I have to quit being so closed-minded. Now that I'm not judging the bench warmers, I can hear the message. That's what it comes down to. Now that I'm not judging those people, because I was, to make me feel better, now I can see it for what it is. And I have learned a lot more since that happened. I grew up Mormon, man, and I was not treated, but it wasn't the Mormon religion that treated me bad. It was the people at it. Now I can do something about that. Right? All right. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. I do this a lot. I do it a lot. Yes, I do. I always have to ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves that we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, Thy will be done. We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined. So we let God discipline us in the simple way that we have just outlined. But that is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12. All right, let's do today's daily reflection reading. Kind of get back to the experience portion of it. Some say, well, I'll just read the whole thing because it's not very big. It'll be a little bit of repeating, but that's all right. Experience, the best teacher. Being still inexperienced, and having just made a conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 87. Some say that experience is the best teacher, but I believe that experience is the only teacher. I don't agree with that. There's so many different ways to learn. And if that's what they do, then that's what they do. Good on them. But if I only learned from experience, I'm trying to agree with it. I am. So if I look at it, even if I read something and it is somebody and it's their experience. So, okay, we got that. Other people's experience. Okay, maybe I can get on board with that a little bit more. Okay. Now, what I did is I just 10th stepped that thing in my mind. I didn't need to be so closed minded. Maybe I can agree with it to a certain extent. What is that? Taking what I need and leaving the rest. And it works very, very well. Try and see where people are right. Find reasons to say yes. Look for the reasons to say yes. Unless the answer is supposed to be no, then don't, I'm not saying be a codependent. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. I've been able to learn of God's love for me only by the experience of my dependence on that love. At first, I could not be sure of his direction in my life, but now I see that if I'm to be bold enough to ask for his guidance, I must act as if he provided it. I frequently ask God to help me remember that he has a path for me. Good stuff. All right, that's going to be it for this one. I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for being here. Michelle, thanks for hanging out. It was good to see you. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.